Welcome to episode 7 of Wednesday Night Live. We had Yoshi planned to be on tonight. We want to apologize to everyone that was expecting him to be on tonight. He had something come up, so we're going to try to reschedule him for another show. So hopefully we can get him back on. He seems to be a very interesting character, and we'll work on that. As far as tonight's show, we got Brian Power, Tom Harding down here at the bottom, who's with us. He wasn't with us last week, missed a great show. And Tim down there. How you guys doing tonight? Brian?
Doing pretty good, actually. It's
you're wearing a sweatshirt. I'm surprised. You're cold for once.
Well, no, we just haven't turned the heat on in my basement yet.
Oh.
I mean, so it's a little chilly down here. It's not too bad. The basement's supposed to be chilly, right?
Hey,
that's the way they are.
Tim, will you send Brian the link to that floor heater, please?
I will. After the show, I will send you the link. I thought maybe he was the reason why they haven't turned the heat on in the basement is because he's going to be curing meats this winter. Like back in colonial days, they would just salt up the meat and throw it in the cellar, and natural cooling.
Elk outnumber people, right? In North Dakota.
Well, it depends on what part you're in.
Yeah.
If you're in my area, where you hunt, they all run away from you.
Yeah.
Smart elk.
And then they're always on the roads where you don't want them to be.
Well, everybody in North Dakota carries a gun. If I was an elk, I would run too. Tommy boy, how you doing, man?
Oh, after last week, I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Last week sucked.
We missed you, man.
I hate working that much.
Did you?
Nobody likes work, Tom.
Yeah,
this is true.
Work should not feel like work.
Yeah, those that don't know, on this channel here, Tom has some ghosts in the warehouse he works in. It's a little girl that follows him around at night. So
yeah, she was acting up. She was making all kinds of noise and crap.
What's up, Theo? What's up, Bill?
Hey guys,
Bill Tarling in the house too.
Bill?
Bill Tarling has been a godsend since last week. So.
You got to remember, Tom. She doesn't get any turkey. She doesn't get any stuffing. She didn't get no cranberry sauce. So
it's not my fault.
She's a pissed off ghost.
It's not my fault.
I didn't know ghosts were so vindictive.
Yeah.
Have you not seen Poltergeist?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a ghost and a poltergeist, though.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it a poltergeist following you around? Or
no, there's just rumors that there's a ghost.
Is there a dainty 4-foot, 3-foot older lady walking around throwing tennis balls in the closet and telling you to walk towards the light?
No.
Okay.
There's
just checking
like that.
Right.
Go towards the light, Tom.
Yeah, go to the light. Go to the light.
Go to the light.
There's a reason I work nights. I'm allergic to light.
Did you by any chance on Halloween dress up like Ghostbusters and go to work?
No,
because that'd be hilarious. Showing up with a big
backpack
backpack with the.
Oh, she would go after him. Can you imagine?
I can't. I have to wear what they tell me to wear when I'm at work. It sucks.
Well, you can still have a backpack and the little ghost catcher, right?
Bill with the one-liners.
Wow, Bill.
Bill with the one-liners.
Yeah. How you doing, Tim?
I am doing well. It's cold as hell here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm making
cloudy.
Well, that's a whole nother weather pattern. No, it's just been really cold, so I've been sticking close to the house using my heater, and I've been busy. Yes, and that's kind of like my security blanket now. Well, it's like I said, it was an attempt to try to save some money on the gas bill, but at any rate. I've been getting back into my smart home activities. I kind of put that on the shelf for a little while. So I've been busy installing switches and motion sensors and programming smart app lighting and stuff like that. So anybody needs some smart home assistance or help, hit up the kid. I'll teach you how to turn your lights on and off.
So Alexa, turn on the fireplace. Alexa, turn on the kitchen.
No, you see, I already defeated you. Now, for those watching the show, I'm a lot like Phil Brisardo. Like he loves his smart home technology, and I have fallen into the same vortex of can I talk to my house and I can make anything happen? Like I literally have a germ-free home because I don't have to touch squat in my house. I can just speak and have stuff happen. But no, I renamed. I do have a switch for the fireplace. And a lot of people might say, well, that's dangerous. Only because somebody like John Troncali just showed us all right there that he could say, a-hole, sorry, I can't say her real name right now, turn on the fireplace. But what you do to defeat that is you rename those devices to something that people won't normally use. And now,
what did you rename yours to?
Campfire.
Ooh, smart. That's not a bad. That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. So the interesting part, and I know there was off topic from vaping, right? Well, you could be vaping while you're doing this stuff. So it's what do we say? Somewhat vaping related, kind of vaping related. Yeah. So because you can do anything pretty much vaping. I mean,
now all you need to do is to train those 2 dogs of yours to get your vape off the kitchen counter.
Well, yeah, I don't, dude. They can't even reach your shins.
I know.
Let alone the table counter. But no, you just rename devices that you think would be compromised by someone standing outside your house and saying a word. For example, the garage. Like you might not want to name your MyQ garage door opener garage. So you walk up to the house and you say, a-hole, open the garage. So you rename it. Now, I feel pretty confident.
That's a good one right there.
Yeah, exactly. That would be great if you could do that.
It just comes floating through the room.
Yeah, exactly. Just shotguns your vape all the way across the room. You just open your mouth.
That one would be great too.
I feel pretty confident that nobody's watching the show or anybody who is a co-host on the show here will come to my house in the near future. So I renamed my garage.
I could see people standing outside your house in the door.
Everybody,
Alexa, campfire. Alexa, door.
I named it the Vault.
Oh, the Vault. That's good.
The Vault.
Nice.
So you just, not that many brilliant house.
I thought you were going to go like the Lord of the Rings theme to it. What they called the door back there when they had to
Alexa, open Mordor.
Yeah, there you go.
Alexa, close Mordor. Oh my God, she's listening to me. Thank God I don't have a device named that.
Yeah, mine.
Alexa, cancel.
Yeah, mine just went off too. Okay, so Tim, I got a question for you. So how many do you have one Alexa in your house? Do you have a couple of them?
You would ask that question, and I would love to tell you that it's one, but I have literally one in just about every room.
Every room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So same
I
here.
have a question after Brian.
Okay.
I have one in the living room. I have the taller ones in the living room. And the reason why I have that one is because
that would be your Echo design, your Amazon classic Echo.
Yeah, the taller one that I have. That's the newer one. Yeah. And then we got smaller ones around the house. But anyways, the bigger one, I hook it up to my TV at night. So when the wife's sleeping, I can actually hear it on the Bluetooth next to me versus having it across the room. That's very helpful, actually.
Yep.
But we do set alarms on our Alexas on the Alexa app, and we did actually. Yep, we set alarms on them all the time. Even if I have one next to my bed, which is the clock one, and so I can always see the time and all that stuff. It'll tell me different things. Anyways, we have garage door opener too, and we have switches in the house and whatnot too. So it's kind of like your house. Our house can do things too. But my question to you is, when you're in different rooms, so what I did is I played
Tim became the guest tonight.
Yeah,
we apologize for the Smart Home Wednesday Night Live show.
Right. So what I did is I played a joke with my wife, and what I did is I went to on the app every Alexa.
Yeah.
And I renamed them different names.
Trigger
so you can't watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
changed.
So I changed the trigger words on them. So now, having her walk into the room, say, Alexa, do this, and it doesn't. And then she sits there and does it again and does it again, and she doesn't realize what's going on. And I'm sitting there laughing.
Yeah,
I find that amusing, but she got really upset.
Yeah, well, you don't want to crush dreams, especially gadget dreams of people by renaming your Alexa to other trigger words. But it was a necessity because I have so many kind of close to each other
Yep.
That they all were waking. So here was my latest dilemma, and it's the most frustrating thing ever. So it's pretty good, Amber. And you ask, yeah, it's actually it's working really well. I will admit though that I'm having a little bit of a struggle wicking the RTA. So I'm back to the drawing board on that one. Yeah. Good thing I don't have any Apple products in my house, Bill. Where we would
Bill,
have that
are you trying to start a tech war? That would shut down the internet if you asked those two what was wrong with each other. Throw what's the Microsoft one? Corona? What is that one?
Cortana.
That's Microsoft's, but nobody uses that shit.
Nobody.
You have it. You can talk to your tablet, I guess, if it makes sense. But I mean, on a laptop, who's gonna do that? Anyway, here, and real quick, here's my dilemma. So I've got them so close together. I renamed all of them in the general vicinity downstairs, but I have a lighting scheme that when I'm ready to go chill and watch TV or whatever, I can say, "A-hole, that's a wrap," and she cuts out all the lights. And so it's nice and
she sets the mood for you.
Yes. Yep. The problem is I have a dot all the way upstairs.
Yes, I would.
I have a dot all the way upstairs in a back bedroom, and for some reason that yin yang hears me and starts playing rap music because she thinks I'm asking for rap music on Amazon Prime. So I'm yelling at the bottom of the stairs to tell her to cancel. She doesn't hear me, so I got to run all the way upstairs to cancel the rap music, and all I want to do is turn out the lights. Dilemma.
The first world problems.
I have not tried the 510 connector, Amber. I don't really have a device that fits on it. Everything would have overhang, and I'm kind of an OCD kind of person. I don't like overhang. So I imagine it works well. I'm a little bit more excited about the Oxfa Velocity 510 connector that's coming with the Velocity because it's got the extra clips in it to hold the 510 connector on. So when you open your RDA to drip or something like that, it doesn't magnetically just kind of pull the whole 510 connector out of the top. So,
all right. My question real quick before we
go ahead, Tom.
Two things actually. Theo, if you go to teespring.com, I believe it is, you can get ZampleBox hoodies. And two, do you have more Alexas or vape devices, Tim?
More vape devices. The vape devices clearly outweigh the number of Alexas in the house, but it's close. It's close. It's a close race. I'll say that much. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. We did a poll this week on I think 4 pages, and the question is right there: how much are you willing to spend on a mod? So if you guys in the chat want to jump in and give me an idea, I think I started at $20, guys. I think was the lowest one I had on there.
I didn't till I saw my turn.
Yeah, $20. I mean, if you could find a mod for $20, jump on it. I don't care who makes it.
Right.
So, but you guys can jump in there. Let me take that thing off of there because it's hiding one of our favorite people, Tom. There he is, back on the show. But yeah. So we pulled that question on a couple Facebook group pages, vape pages, and on Ohms Anonymous. $100 was the winner there. Second place was at the $200 to $300 range. I should have kind of put that like a $200 Infinity because I think I pissed off. Oh, well, my mod cost, and I'm like, okay, well, it goes in the 300 category. That's where it goes.
Well, I had a question actually kind of about that. I was kind of confused, and so that's the way I put my answer the way it was. But like normally what I would spend would be a certain amount. If I wanted to get something that I've never had before and I was really searching out, that price range could dramatically change. So that's kind of why I'm like, okay, this is normal what I would normally pay for something if I just needed a mod.
I think we all have a number that's set, and then for anything to go over that number, there's got to be something in there that really makes us really want it. Like whether it's like, okay, I can either jump from plastic sidings to stab wood, or to some other outrageous material that makes the mod go from say $80 to $120 to $130 or $150 mod. I think we have all been down that road because there's a couple of them. Well, take the Odin for instance. You could either buy the Odin with their chip, which ran about $80, I think it was, wasn't it? Or you could jump into the Odin with the DNA, and that jumped to $199. So, was that $100, worth it to you to jump to that? So I kind of kept it basic. $60 was the third place there. $150 was me. I wrote it there. And then that was it for them. Let me jump to Barista's page. Now, this page seems to have a lot more. There's a lot. I've been on this group for a long time, so there's a lot of higher end devices and more of stab woods, squonkers. So let's see where they were at. So there was 5 votes there at the $200 to $300 range, which makes sense in that group. $100 was second place, 60 there, and me again with the 150. On the ZampleBox page, where are we? There we are. 80 was king there, and I think that seems to be the sweet spot for most of us. Am I about? That sound about right? $80 is about the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Tim, you're muted. We'd love to hear you talk.
I should just probably mouth the words at this point. Anyway, no, I'd say 80 is probably about where I think, okay, that's I don't even bat an eye. I start kind of waffling when it climbs over 100. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I'm considering what Addy I'm going to put on the top of it too. So even if I'm at 150, which was my vote for about where I would consider about my echelon for buying a mod, I'm adding an Addy onto that too. So then it could very well climb into the 200 bracket range. Because say, for example, you want an Asgard Mini or an Asgard, the larger Asgard, you're looking anywhere from $50 to $60 for something like that. Because if I'm going to spend that much on a mod, I'm going to put a quality Addy on the top of it too. I'm not going to, get a $150 mod and drop a, $25 or $30 Addy on it. I mean, unless it's been proven to perform fantastically.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I was too at that $150 range. I think once you get, for a long, long time, as far as I can remember, to get to that DNA level, you needed to be at that 150 for a long time. Now it's changed a little bit, but even some of the DNA 60s or the 75s are right 125.
Yeah, I think I was seeing a lot of DNAs for somewhere in the neighborhoods of about 125 to just around 200.
Yeah, which even EE is right up there as well.
Yeah, and I mean, and really, that's about you're buying the chip. I mean, maybe the mod might have a little bit of an upgrade on some of its materials. For example, the difference between the Odin 200 and the Odin DNA 250, you might see a slight variation in quality of materials, but you're really paying for a chip.
You're paying for that chip.
You're paying for the chip, and that's where that price tag's coming from. And I'm not knocking the DNA chip. I mean, they're great. They're great chips, but I don't need my whole lineup to be DNA chips.
Right. 50 was second there. 100 was third. 150 was in fourth place, and 225. Did I put 225 to 300 there? And we got a couple $90 in there, a couple $40, $70, 60, and 125. Nobody hit the $20 one.
Not a lot of budget shoppers.
Well, there's been a couple in there I've seen in a few of the discounted items that were in that price range, and some of them are pretty good. In the Vaping Fagan group, 150 was king there with the 200 to 300 range in second place, $60 in third place, 20, and 175 there, and that was it. Yeah, I was surprised. I thought for sure when I did this poll, I was going to see, again, it depends in the group that I post them in. So some groups are just a little bit different than others, but I thought for sure like the 80 was going to be the king throughout all of them, because that seems to be, if you look at hand checks, it seems like everyone that's posting a hand check is right at that. I'm looking at the mod. I know what the mod cost, and but like Tim's saying, I didn't even think about, okay, I got to put something on top of this.
Yeah, and that's my buying habits are typically, if I'm buying a new mod, I'm usually buying a new Addy at the same time. I mean, I know I have tons of stuff in reserve I could mix and match or flip flop, but I don't know. I like to marry up the mod with something new, so kind of that way you get a whole package.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, drop that Kodama madness on them, though. I know he wanted to talk about that.
That one?
Yeah. So explain that. Well, no, because Tom and I think we're in the same boat on this one, right? Because I think it was right up until the time Tom and I actually had gotten that particular mod, because we bought it around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That mod originally went for about $300. Okay. I would have balked on that in a hot minute. I mean, it's got touch screen and a flashlight. It's stab wood. I mean, it's a really nice mod, and they had a few different designs. But as Modus, right around the time, right before the PMTA, a few months leading up to that, I don't know if they were just not going to file their PMTAs or what.
They're cleaning house.
Yeah, but everything went to like 50% off, and that mod dropped from 300 to 150 like that. And so Tom and I jumped on it without even questioning it, because we were like, I'd love to have a stab wood mod, but typically it's going to far exceed my spending limits on a singular mod. So that's why we both got one. Pod mods? I've got a lot of those.
I have a hard time spending. Yeah, I have a hard time spending more than 45 on a pod mod.
I have a problem spending more than 30 on a pod mod.
Yeah, 30,
about 30, $40.
Yeah.
I mean, I think more or less my search has just been for one that kind of makes me happy. It's a good vape. The coil length does well on it. The battery holds up. I mean, because most of the time when I go to the clubs or I go out with friends, I don't take this with me.
No.
I'm gonna roll with something like this, the Caliburn G or the Coco. I mean, I'll stretch it and go with the Oxford. It's small enough I could throw it in.
Small enough to go in your pocket, yeah.
But my limit's probably somewhere around the $35 mark on a pod system.
Yeah. For me, it just seems, I don't know, maybe it's just me. To me, some of them just don't feel like they're something that I could use every day that's going to last. And I don't know if it just to me, they feel cheaply made. And I don't know, maybe it's just my experience from the last 9 years that some of those things are just not designed to last. It's like, this is going to get you by for 3-4 months. If you're lucky, some of them don't even get you through that much. And number two, my other problem was for a long time there, when they were starting to come out, it was just like, okay, I could get coils for about a month, and then what? It's like I can't find these coils. Yeah. I do like the fact that some of these companies are cross. I don't know how you want to say it.
Cross compatible.
Yeah, cross compatible with the coils, and I like that. Some of them have done it.
I think most of the major vendors now are coming out with device lines that use the same coils across the systems.
Yeah. And I do like when they go and use Aspire coils. And the reason I say that is just because I can walk into just about 90% of every vape shop in the country and find Aspire coils, whether it's a mouth to lung or a sub-ohm coil. They always got them.
Yeah, well, see, how I rectify most of that is I usually will go out with like 3 pod devices in a night. Because, I mean, if you consider this is somewhere in the 500 plus mAh range. This is now just under 700. The Oxfa I like because it's an 18650 battery inside of it. So
they have Victory Liquid in, don't they?
I'm not sure if that's in ZampleBox right now or not.
I think so. Anthony's not here with us tonight to answer those ZampleBox questions, but I'll find out for you, and I will let you know.
How about we use the power of the internet?
Yeah, I've seen them in there. I've seen them in there, and I think I have a bottle on my desk, to be honest with you.
What don't you have a bottle of on your desk?
Mod Vape. I got Vape Crafts on my desk. I got, remember these? I found the bottle.
Oh, yeah. They were all named liquid. Yeah, you know what? They do list Victory in the search, but when you hit it, nothing comes up. So I'm looking at Pure Wholesale right now. So typically, if it's not in the wholesale line, then it's more than likely not part of the subs.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll find out for you as well. We'll ask Anthony, but if it's not in there, it's probably not available.
Yeah, well, you have to remember one specific thing, and this goes out to anybody who is familiar with ZampleBox or has used it in the past. ZampleBox is not like a 100 mil, 120 mil distributor. Yeah. If you're going to buy 120 mils of juice from ZampleBox on the wholesale site, it's going to come in, it's going to come in 30 mil increments because the vendors are the customers get ZampleBox simply because it's really more designed about being a sample service. Yeah. So if the vendors aren't releasing or creating a unique specific 30 mil bottle line for ZampleBox to use, that's why a lot of them kind of drop off the radar when it comes to ZampleBox and offering it in the subs, simply because they're all moving to 60, 100, 120, and so on and so forth. And they're just not making 30 mil lines because they'd have to make that line specifically for ZampleBox.
Yeah.
So that kind of explains that.
And I kind of like the idea of getting them in 30s too, because it makes it a lot easier for me to carry that bottle of flavor that I enjoy vaping throughout the day. And to be honest, who goes through, I was going to say, be honest, who goes through 30 mils a day, but that's I'm going to throw that out the window because
don't open that can of worms.
I know quite a few people that go through 30 mils in a half a day. Which to me still blows me away that you can vape 30 mils. I do maybe tops 10 mils, 15 if I'm having a real shit day.
So today you're at what, about 20?
I am today. I have this will answer your question. I don't know if you can see it, but this was full when I started.
Wow. And that's a 60 mil bottle, right?
That's a 60 mil bottle. And
so you do 30 then. Look at that.
You're having a day then.
Today I'm having that day.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know. It's so hard for me to gauge exactly what I do since I have like 5 devices going at any given time.
Yeah.
The pods go slower. The mods go faster. Yeah. It's insane. It's crazy.
It's wacky.
How did we Monday? Oh, we talking Texas weather? Come on.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Quit complaining. You live in a desert.
Okay, it's like 28 degrees here. Okay.
Yeah, but
it's like 34 here.
Yeah.
Deal with it, people.
It's gonna get down to 23 here. Come on.
It's not that bad.
Cuddle your dog, throw on a hoodie, turn your heater on. You're fine.
It's 63 here.
Get under a blanket and vape. That's what you gotta do.
Find you a partner to vape with and just cuddle up.
Alexa, get my blanket.
Yeah, it's a good thing I can only hear you through my headset and this doesn't come through my PC speaker. Because too many times in the ZampleBox family, in the member lounge, like Fisher will get on there and then he'll start talking about the fun he has with his kid and messing with his kid, and he keeps using the call name Aloha.
Yeah.
And so all of mine in the house are going off while I'm watching Mike's video.
Alexa. Well, Alexa, you got to hook up one of those Alexas to your floor heater or to your
I tried that search. I looked for one that was actually Alexa capable, but they don't make them yet. I don't think that would be a smart idea.
Well,
they do. They try to keep you away from devices that heat up or could be a danger and things like that, which is why the fireplace thing was not, a highly recommended thing. But I'll be honest, it's not. Yeah. As long as you're here, you're fine.
Hopefully, you don't talk in your sleep.
No, I don't have bad dreams about Amazon devices
yet.
Nor have I had a relationship with any of them.
Tim has
2020 is not over yet. Anything's possible.
Tim has vape mail nightmares where his mail goes to somebody else's house and that person ends up keeping it.
I'm having withdrawals really bad. So what is everybody? What I want to know is, once we have viewership right now, what's everybody kind of like aiming for the holidays, right? I mean, we just got through Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I know people probably picked up some stuff, but I'm just curious, like what's on people's radar, you know, or what are they wanting for Christmas? Like, what's the? I know it's not. They're not. We don't have any mods called PS5. I know everybody wants one of those for Christmas.
No, I really don't.
You don't have anything. Nothing.
I don't want I don't want a PS5.
Oh, I do, but I'm gonna wait till the hype's over. I'm gonna do that. Well, actually, I'm targeting, like I said, that Oxva Velocity. So if people are interested in checking that out, head on over to oxva.com. There's plenty of reviews online right now. I think Mike Vapes has done a review on it.
Yeah, Mike did.
A couple people. So, I mean, you can look into it. It's a single 21700 mod, goes up to 100 watts. Got some nice designs on it. It has an AIO pod that you can use that, you know, uses their pre-made coils. Yeah. A flashlight.
Oh, Bill.
And and I think they actually make those, which is ironically strange that he brought that up.
Well, you can find,
they actually do make those.
You can find some weird stuff on there. What was the name of that mod that you were talking about, Tim?
The Velocity.
Oh, the Velocity.
The Velocity, right? So it's a single 21700 mod. It's got an AIO pod that's in the kit, along with a secondary pod that uses their older coils. They call them, I think, Unipro coils are the new ones, but it's got this unique 510 connector that you can put on top of it that actually, you know, like if you had got a 510 adapter for your Vinci X or a 510 adapter for the Oxva, which the magnet's not that bad, it's pretty strong, but this 510 plate actually has two little metal clips that snap in, and they give you a tool that you can pry. Well, you can use your RDA to pry it off as well, but the 510 adapter is very difficult to get out on a standard pull. It's not going anywhere, and it'll hold up to anything. I think up to about a 26 millimeter RTA sub-ohm tank. But it's a nice little device. There's plenty of reviews around for it, but it's reasonable. There you go. I'm gunning for that one in the middle on the bottom row there. That's the black gold.
That
whatever
does look
that.
Cool.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. No.
Next one over.
Yeah.
That's nice.
One. Yeah. So I mean, they all look really nice. I mean, the reviews on them have looked fantastic. I mean, that one that has the brown leather on it actually looks like some kind of a faux real. They're only it's on pre-order right now. They're getting ready to drop near the end. So I think in 2 weeks. So right now they only want $49.99 for it on pre-order, which I think is a reasonable. It does come with a battery sleeve, so you can use 2700s, 21700s, or 18650s in it. 50s. Yeah, but why would you put an 18650 into a device that can hold a 21700?
You don't have a 21700 or 2700 yet?
It's that extra weight, Tim. A couple grams there, dude.
No, so I do that actually, and here's why I do that. I on one of my devices actually use a mouth to lung on it, and so if I have a 21700 charging, I'll just pop it on 18650 until it's done charging, and then flip flap back out again.
Yeah. Hey John, could you bring up the Oxva website real quick?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to talk about one other item, because we get a lot of questions all the time on, what's a good RTA, what's a bad RTA, what's a good ADDI to use. I just wanted to bring up this one right here, the Arbiter Rta, which is getting ready to come out at the same time.
Oops. Hold on, I go back.
Don't leave it up to John to be the clicker.
Gotta be fast.
You got to be fast. So that
looks like. Let me just say that looks exactly like Hellvape's RDA.
Looks like a lot of people's RTA.
I mean, you could say it looks like the Zeus X too.
Yeah, it looks like the Zeus
or it
X
looks like the Bulk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're just
the intake.
I think if anything, you might have some issues with the Under Armour logo going on there, right? Isn't that what the Under Armour logo looks like?
No.
Okay. Well, what I like about this tank is not so much the design part of it. It's a really nice looking RTA. It's 26.5 millimeters on the bottom 510 plate. It can get up to 31 in the middle if you use the bubble glass. 28, I believe, if you use the straight glass. It has kind of an angle a taper at the bottom there. But what's interesting about this RTA and I hear this all the time, is people talk about their devices leaking, and that usually will typically happen in an RTA that has bottom airflow control.
Bottom airflow.
So if you don't wick in RTAs, notoriously, if you don't wick them right, they're either you're not going to get a decent vape out on it. If you wick it too light, it's going to leak like shit on you. But this one, what it has is has a top airflow design, and then it has an insert that kind of sits on top of the build deck that transfers all the air that's going in through the top down to the bottom. So a lot of people like that bottom airflow feel on an RTA, but they don't want it to leak. So this basically goes ahead and takes care of that collectively, right? So you get the top airflow, no leak design with the bottom airflow pull on it. So I'm interested with this. I've seen a couple reviews. It's only $36 on pre-order right now.
See, that's something I'd be interested in, because so for me, I don't like the top airflow just going sideways and then going up. Like, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah,
I like the bottom airflow going underneath the coils.
Yeah.
So this would be something like I would be interested in, actually.
Yeah. It definitely forces all that air, because that insert. I don't know if John can scroll. He's standing up right now, but I think there might be a picture of the insert. Can you? There you. Well, keep going. Keep going down. See if they actually show you the insert. All right. So there's a build deck, right? It's really easy to coil up. You just drop them in. You screw them down and you clip your leads after you drop them in. So it's real easy to install on. So that's one tick box for, hey, is it easy to build on? And then
it's pretty easy.
Yeah, go down a little bit more. Let's see if it shows the insert. All right. So there it is. So see that where it says internal chamber?
Yeah.
See that little chimney stem?
Yeah.
That drops down over top of the build deck and seals off the top of the deck. So as that air comes in through the top, it pushes it down to the sides, and then it'll come up underneath your coils. So people are looking for innovation. It's still happening despite all of
You can see it right here. Your airflow is going to come in here and be separated from the actual tank itself because of the chamber here. So you're getting this motion here down and then back up.
Yeah. So now everybody knows what I do with my free time. I'm on the internet all the time looking for latest and greatest.
Solid, warm, comfortable vape.
Yeah, but you can get that at Oxfa.com right now. They do have U.S. distribution. I'm not pushing Oxfa. I'm not sponsored, I'm not sponsored by anybody or anything. But they have U.S. distribution as well as international distribution. So if you order it, you pre-order it through them, you're going to get the device from a U.S. distributor if you're ordering in the U.S. So it doesn't mean you got to wait 2.5 weeks like you're ordering from Fast Tech or 3A Vape, 3F Vape, or Heaven Gifts or anything like that. Anyhow, there's my pitch for Oxford devices.
Alexa, order Oxford. No.
Yeah. I wish it would. And that's what I have now. I have that. That's the Origin X.
I was pretty looking mod. Very good looking mod.
Yeah, I mean, it's small, compact, lightweight. Single 18650 goes up to is it 60 watts? Yeah, up to 60 watts. It does have the photon chip in it though, so there is some intelligence built in. It's kind of got that technology where, like, based on the resistance of the coil that's sitting on top, it'll only let you go to a certain wattage.
Right.
So you have to be a little tricky with that. What I really wanted in this was I was gunning for that middle piece, which we talked about price earlier. So I ordered the 3-in-1 kit, which you can get through distributors. And the 3-in-1 kit includes that 510 connector plate on the right side. So you can put whatever you want on it, as long as it, doesn't have massive overhang. That would drive me nuts. The middle section is an RTA pod. Basically, it's got you can put your own coils in on the top. It's got a postless deck. They just you got to pre-cut them, drop them into the mount holes, and then you can use that bottom pod section as an RTA. I'm struggling with the wicking on that, and then you get that AIO pod on the left side, and you can use Oxford coils in that.
Yeah.
So that's what's nice about that one.
Everybody say hello to Madison.
Madison in house.
Maddie. There you go. We're going straight up. Everybody's up close.
We can't hear you, Matt. You muted?
You muted?
Nah.
No.
Computer's broken.
Alexa, fix
Maddie's headset.
Hit it with a hammer.
I don't know that.
Now my Alexa's talking to me.
I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah. I can hear it squelching, so there's a connection being made. Madison was on the Mad Hunt last week for an Xbox, I believe. I want to hear the story.
Yeah. You got better.
I'm not sure if she got it or not.
No, she didn't.
I'm kind of waiting to see, what's going to happen. The only way I'll switch consoles is the ones all the people I play with switch over, and I got nobody to play with. They don't switch, so.
Yeah, but you still have PC.
Yeah, that's why another reason what's holding me back.
Mm-hmm. Nothing, Madison.
Yeah. Something's wrong with your headset.
You got technical difficulties.
Maybe the husband's around. I noticed he's helped you fix it. No husband tonight. She's out on an island.
She's on her own.
Survivor Madison edition.
Yeah. Sounds like you got a funky connection going on.
Hey, Madison, can you hear us?
Yeah, she can hear us.
You can hear us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's good on that side.
We're not using Zoom.
Yeah, Bill, we're using StreamYard.
Check to make sure your headphones are working.
It's working. She can hear us just fine. It's her mic that's not working.
Yeah. Click on the cam mic button and make sure your microphone is set up for your headphones.
Mm-hmm.
Tough stuff.
Yeah. Talk to Alexa. Alexa, fix my headphones.
So what's the newest thing you got, Brian? What's the newest device you've got?
What are you looking at, Brian?
I have a few things.
Let's see what you got.
So here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
So what happened was, I got one device, which is the Lost Vape.
That's the Lima.
Okay. This is a good device. And then what I learned is that they use the same coil in this device as in many other devices.
Yeah.
So what happened was, things happen. And so this coil, this coil, and this coil, they all use the same coils.
Oh, that's nice. So that is nice.
Which is kind of what we were talking about at the beginning.
Yeah. So I was like sitting here, I'm like, okay, well, if it takes that coil, I kind of like this coil. Let's, put it on a different device. So I'm using a multi-lung in this guy, and this battery lasts forever. The Q Ultra.
We see it.
So
the Q Ultra, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it actually so with the other Qs that they have, it's a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the thing is though is that with this one, it actually the airflow goes down that little tube and goes up through that coil. So instead of having that top airflow that a lot of people hated on this guy, going to the side and going up, it actually goes underneath the coil and comes back up through it, which is really nice. So I've been using multi-lung nickel cells on this guy, which is really nice. It's been working very well, and they all have USB-C charging, which is convenient. Also a big thing for me too. So I've been playing around with all these guys. These two actually use the same exact board. This one, and the Thema, and this one, they use the same exact board. This is the one that was a single 21700 and single 18650. Same board, 100 watts, internal battery, replaceable battery. But then this is their tank. The was it Ubex? It's called.
I didn't look into that.
Yeah, which takes the same coil as everything else too, which is really nice and convenient. I don't like how small the tank is. Maybe it's just me. Like I feel like I have to fill it up, but I'm also using the more direct lung coil in it, so I'm going through juice pretty quickly in it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of annoying.
Well, how much bigger is that tank than the other one, Brian? 2 mils more?
The Ubex versus the one that's in here.
Yeah.
They're actually pretty similar. I think
the bigger one, the Q.
Oh, the Q. So this one and then this one.
Yeah.
This one holds far more than this one does. I don't know exact volume, but I know it's at least twice as much.
Yeah.
But this one can also use those direct lung coils, which is really nice. You can cloud check off a little device. So I mean,
well, I was going to say even the Gemini, which we all got to sort of test out. The Gemini actually is. You use the sub-ohm coil on that. That thing chucks pretty good. So
I forgot to mention this is the guy that takes the same exact coils as all the other ones do.
Yeah, it goes in that one as well.
Yeah, so like I got 4 devices that take the same exact coils for everything else, and I can sit there and vape them if I, need a coil or something like that, I can just grab one or whichever one and use it, which is really nice.
That seems to be the going rage now. It seems like all these families are coming out with all these mods that use common coils across their product sets, which is actually kind of convenient for the users.
I'm going to let Tim say that name, but that's the mod I'm kind of interested. So if anybody's watching that, kind of give me a heads up of what you think, and what I'm looking for is material wise. Does it feel cheap in the hand? I've seen a couple of reviews, but I not that I don't trust reviewers, but I like hearing it from someone that has it. Yeah, I just want to know does it feel like a cheap piece of metal in your hands, and that if you dropped it, it's pretty much toast. But I'm interested in this mech mod, and not just because it's Hell Vape. It's just
I'm gonna go with Trishul.
Trishul. That's how I was gonna say it. Trishul.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you lean towards Trishul because you don't have a vowel on the end to cause you to change your pronunciation. But I haven't bought a mech since probably 2014.
Well, Maddie's back.
What was the last mech you had, Tim?
Well, I don't have any problem admitting this at all, but the last mech that I had that was a pure mech was a Stingray clone.
Everybody had that.
Was that a copper, stainless, or?
Well, they were all copper, but they had different designs, right? So they had mine was probably similar to that one John's showing right there. It was a copper mod, but it was powder coated in black. Nice. So it was the black Stingray that was kind of etched so you could see the Stingray logo on it. And then I had the other one, which was like a copper tube with a sleeve over the top of it that was actually it was carved out. And so it made the Stingray logo look like kind of like a 3D kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So that was at least 2014.
I think it just looks pretty sweet. Look, I like the mods that have the fatter base. For some reason, they just fit better in my hand. And when I saw it, I was like, okay. At first, I was thinking, okay, that little indentation on the bottom is probably useless because it's not in the area that most of us put our hands when we're firing a mech mod. Usually our hands up here towards the middle of the mod, but theirs is down here. So I don't know if a lot of people are going that far down on a mod I'm firing this one. What's in here?
It just looks more like an aesthetical feature of it. So it doesn't look like all the other standard tubes. Yeah. It's like they were just trying to add a little bit of a flair to it. Hey, Dan. What's up, buddy?
What is up, Dan Jay?
Well, thanks for joining us tonight.
John, I actually hold them close to the bottom, actually. My thumb, like to me, that would be a great area where my thumb sits.
Yeah, wow, you're a weirdo.
I'm a pinky presser.
But also, I don't use my pinky or this one. I like to use my
even on the smaller tube mods. My hand is up here to fire. I don't think I've ever gone that far. I mean, I guess some people do. Do they fire it that way?
I have no idea. I use my middle finger like that.
I use your middle finger.
Yeah.
I don't have enough strength in my middle finger, especially with a TVL switch.
Well,
TVL switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you work out a lot.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just haven't really used my
only me and Tom saw that.
Where are you in New Zealand, Dan? What town you live in?
New Zealand.
Yeah.
Tim might have drank in one of your towns.
I've been to Auckland. I've been to Christchurch. I've been over there. I've been to Muriwai Beach, so I'm familiar with some parts of New Zealand.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to remember. And Dan will know, but what the name of the birds were that roost at Muriwai Beach. Palmerston North. Yeah, there's a specific kind of bird that comes every year and roosts up on the cliffs.
Are they puffins?
No, they're not puffins.
That's the only weird bird I can think of off the top of my head.
No, Dan would know because they're from New Zealand. I don't think these birds can make it to the mainland. Flying from New Zealand to the U.S. would be a hell of a. We just got in, and boy, are our arms tired.
Arms are tired.
Yeah. Gannets. That's them. Gannets. Yeah, and they always come back to roost at the same. We were actually there, like kind of at the end of their season, so they had the babies, and everybody took off and they migrated. Which it was summertime there. It was basically summertime when we were there. So beautiful country. If anybody gets a chance to go to New Zealand, go.
It's sad when you hit new devices and you just get a whole page of these.
Is that an intent to smear my name? Go back up to the top there.
Where?
All the way to the top. Right. Oh no. First row with the green one. No, first row green one. The SWFT.
Oh God, yeah.
Swift.
Tim's got his own disposables out there.
Yeah. Wow, when did you get a disposable line, Tim?
Yeah, how come you didn't tell us about this?
You know, it was I had to obscure that because I didn't want anyone to know that I'm sort of related to Taylor Swift and Swift trucking lines, and I have my hand in the pot of butterball turkeys and brown and served sausage. So
brown and served sausages.
I'm actually not wealthy at all. I'm not related to anybody or anything.
He's related to Taylor Swift.
Yeah. I wish.
Madison, are you working? Are you working, Maddie?
I think she's.
Is it working?
We don't know until she talks. Try saying something.
Oh, wait a minute.
Now she can't hear us at all.
Unmute. Yeah, see, it won't even let me mute or unmute you because you're not.
The pink headset is her foe tonight. That's her nemesis tonight is the pink headset.
Well, it's not lit up, so that's the thing.
Kind of summer.
Usually lights up on the sides there.
Yeah,
when it's on.
Yeah, your lights are not on your headphones. Usually
she
they're
can't
all lit
hear
up.
us, guys.
Yeah, she can't hear. Well, she heard us before but couldn't talk. Now she can't hear at all.
Are you plugged in to the right hole? That's what she said. But no, are you plugged in?
Thank you, Dan, for the conversion because I have that issue with my European friends. I'm like, yeah, it's 80 here today, and then everybody goes bonkers. They're like 80. I'm like, no. Well, because we go by Fahrenheit.
Because
they go by
use
Celsius.
The imperial system.
Yeah, right. So the only one that makes sense is when you say 0.
Right, because cold is fucking cold. I don't care where you are.
Yeah, well, I mean, Australia and New Zealand are pretty much opposite weather, most of us experience. So if you want to go somewhere warm in the wintertime, fly halfway around the world. Guaranteed.
Now, I'll just go south. It's good enough for the birds here. It's good enough for me.
Yeah, I'm south, but I'm not far enough south. I have that transitional weather where we have short winters and very little snow.
Yeah.
Someone typed to Madison just to unplug her headphones and see if her laptop.
Brian's working on it.
Yeah.
Brian's our technical help for the evening. Tom, what are you vaping on? We want to know what you're busy with.
Which device? I have 3.
Talk about any one of them, sir.
Anyone.
Right now, the last of my juice head, strawberry kiwi, in the Pulse 2.
Yep. What do you think of that Pulse 2?
Oh, loving it. With the recurve single, fantastic.
Yeah. A lot of people are giving high marks to the Pulse V2.
In the non-DNA Odin, what do I have in here? I'm having a little bit of an orgasm.
Yeah. I was going to put his O face on for us tonight. Oh.
With the Craving Vapor Reload 26.
Nice.
And in the Fancy with the rye, with still howling coils.
Yeah.
On the Lustro, it's Sour House Lemon from our friend Mindy Kirby.
Yeah, I wished I was my latest ZampleBox is on the way. I wish I would have had that laying around to do an unboxing because I would not be able to do an unboxing with all my previous boxes because I've pretty much damn near wrecked them since I got
one last week and I put all the juices in the cabinet and I don't know where they are now.
But if I had to give a plug for ZB, since that's where we are tonight, I would have to say if you guys can
Teespring merch.
There you go, Teespring merch. Well, I don't know if I can show these. Maybe my camera will do. See if I can actually do that. My camera's not as intelligent as everybody else's.
Alexis, focus the camera.
Yeah, Taylor. This is a juice line that they're carrying right now. Taylor.
How is it?
It's actually not too bad. I was a little skeptical at first because the first one I yanked out of the box was their pure menthol. But all their other ones have been great. Right now I'm vaping on this stuff called Pinky Palmer. Which
I got that one coming.
Pretty sure everybody can put 2 and 2 together to figure out what that's all about. That's basically like a strawberry lemonade.
Raspberry.
Yeah, it's a strawberry lemonade.
Iced tea, lemonade, and strawberry.
Yeah, and I got the strawberry lemon, and they had a mango blueberry one, which was pretty good, and then can't remember the other one I had. But if you're looking for something to add to your sub boxes, and this is a word to the wise who are ZampleBox potentials or people who actually get their subs, you don't have to leave it up to hope and your flavor Bible that you've created, your likes and your dislikes. When you sign on for ZampleBox and you get your sub, you automatically get, I think, 1 or 2 slots open on your box. I want to say at least on a 12 bottle box, you get at least 2. This is the shameless plug. Yeah. If not, I know you get at least, well, maybe your first box, no, because that would be your first raw box into the
your first second box.
So I mean second box. If you go into your next box, you click that button and you go in, you'll see there's some little locks on the slots for your box. Anything that has a lock that's unlocked, you can click on that lock, and then you can go ahead and pick from anything that is available based on your subscription strength or level, right? So if you're a 3 milligram person, they will list up all the ones that you can pick, and then you can add whatever you want to your box. So for people who are struggling with their flavor profiles or just trying to dial it in, it takes probably a good month before you really get it honed in just right, where you start ixnaying certain things because certain flavors were triggered. I've seen a couple posts lately where people were getting things that they didn't really want. So there's some algorithms to that. But if you want to try to nip it in the bud altogether, you can use those unlock positions to go ahead and pick flavors that you want.
Yep. Or if you have a really good flavor that you got the prior month and you want it again, you can do with that too.
Yeah.
And it sucks that our exchange is down right now, because that was a great resource to trade liquid that you didn't like with somebody that may have liked that, and etc.
Look at my likes, man.
Well, you know what though? Here's the interesting part. I think they limited that on newer subscriptions. I think you can only pick up to like 10 or something like that now.
Yeah, that's dislikes.
Well, I thought that they limited likes and dislikes.
No, because I've got like 89 likes.
Yeah, but we're old schoolers though. We've been around a while. So I think in the last year they started limiting. And the reason why they did that and they limited you to only so many is to try to open up the possibilities of juice types that you can get. But see those locks? That's what I'm talking about.
See, now I can click on this box, and you're not going to be able to do this on your first subscription, your first box, but as time goes on, you start opening up those options to start picking your own line, and then I can actually go through these and pick ones that I want to add to my box. So I can pretty much, I'm at the point, I've been there long enough to where I can pick my whole box, and
Same.
I think Tim can, and Tom.
Yeah.
So I can go in here and say, okay, I want that. And when I go back, give it a second.
Refresh.
Refresh it here. It should add that to my box. There you see.
Yeah. So you can do that.
And trust me, you do want that one. It's really good.
Oh yeah.
All the juice heads are good.
Yeah, their blueberry lemonade is actually really good.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
But like I said, you could pick your whole box if you want to do that. But again, like we've always said, it's a sampling service. But I like to pick at least 6 of my own and then let ZampleBox kind of pick the rest for me. And this way, at least I get an opportunity to try some of the other likes. Because I think there's a section, if I remember correctly, that shows you how many juices you have tried.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the little blurb comes up and it says you tried X number of so many flavors, and you have so many more that you have yet to try. But we're all different.
Drop your bottles down to like 6, I believe it is.
Yeah,
for that to pop up.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far down because it's my address and everything on there.
Well, if I remember right, if you just the save part will come up right under where the discounts are.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't dox you or anything.
Well, here's the thing with a sampling service like this. Like, I understand that people like just certain flavors.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. With a service like this where you can actually be able to pick half your flavors and use the other half to try other flavors, it's kind of helpful for you to explore a bit more and whatnot. Like myself, like I'll almost vape anything except for certain things. So I mean, okay, so like the only things I don't like is straight like custards.
Yeah,
because I'm one of those people. I get a black pepper taste through some custards and some other juices like that. So I kind of steer away from them. It could be just certain flavoring and some of them whatnot. But I mean, to me, like if you have the ability to have that opportunity to explore a bit more while getting the juices that you do like, it's actually super helpful.
I can't find that anymore.
What?
That section where it says how many flavors I've tried over the years. I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
1 million different flavors.
Yeah, well, but see, here's the trick in that though, and that number that you haven't tried includes probably about 65 to 70% of the stuff you would never want to try.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I mean, if I can throw out any bit of advice to people, because we're all different, right? So, I mean, we get posts all the time, and we see them in the lounge, and people are, they get a little feisty. They're like, oh, I got this and I didn't like it or whatever. Trust me, on my first few boxes, I was getting stuff with coconut in it, and I put coconut as one of my flavors I didn't like, and I was still getting things with coconut in it. So where it gets into a little bit of a crossbreed is like if you're talking tropical. Sometimes if you put tropical, that can include coconut. So you really have to really refine that list on your likes or dislikes. Also rate your flavors too. So as you get flavors, if you get your juice in and you don't like it at all, go into your account and you can look at your box list of what you got, give it 1 star, and that helps them to calculate whether or not that's something that they would pick for you.
What you want to do is you'll see this list here. These are all my boxes. I need to rate. I haven't rated November's box.
That's because we pick our juice, so we're usually not disappointed.
Yeah. You could click on rate your liquids, and then you'll see this list will come up right here, and then you can rate this flavor from 1 star to 5 star, and that will help make sure. Well, for one, if you give it a 1 star, you're probably never going to see that juice again in your box. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But if you go through this process, it will help. It'll help them pick those flavors for you if you're at that point where you can't pick your own boxes yet. So, or your own bottles. I'm sorry.
And every month you stick around, one more lock unlocks every month as you go. Right. Another thing that I would also stress with people who are thinking about doing ZampleBox or part of ZampleBox is that what ZampleBox is mostly founded on is the fact that it's a sampling service, right? So even though a lot of us use it as a cheaper way to get our e-liquid, and we've kind of found ones that work for us in the catalog that they have available, just know that the service is designed to help you find liquids that you'll like. And then the hope there is that you go out and buy the 100 ml bottles or the 120s from the vendors that are out there. So juices cycle all the time. You're not going to have stuff that just stays in the library constantly. 1 month you might, like I remember we had a little spout there, John, where Barista was in there for a handful of months. Yeah. You could pick those, and then now I don't think it's in there anymore.
Yeah, they're not in there.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they're not in there. Yeah, the lines keep changing. Every month, Anthony's bringing in new lines. So, and it's trying to get some of the higher e-liquids in as well. So I know he's working on that. I think he said he's trying to get some 12s and 18s, more 12s and 18s in. So I think that's a smart move on their part, because I think they might have lost a lot of people, but they couldn't help it. When 85 or whatever percentage of the people are vaping 3 and 6, it's kind of hard to keep 12 and 18 around. So
and then the pod market exploded, and now everybody wants salts and the higher freebase.
Right.
Yeah.
And ZampleBox has always been, a service to help people stop smoking.
Right.
That's what we're all here for.
And again, one more time, I want to apologize for everybody that thought Yoshi was going to be on tonight. He had some issues, and we'll try to reschedule him for another date. So we'll get him on. We'll get him on. I just want to make sure everybody
he's all for doing the show. So that's the thing. Is just
he just had something come up.
Yeah, so
Madison, are you working? Is it working?
I see a headset lit up.
Yeah,
she can hear us again. Yeah, it's
nope.
Yeah, I could hear her barely just there. I could just barely hear her say a word. Yeah.
Oh, good. Did you check your mic volume in your system tools? Yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're getting a little louder.
Okay, because it's auto adjusting right now.
There you
Keep
go.
going. We're hearing you now.
Okay, what about now?
Oh
Getting
yeah.
All right.
We got Madison.
Maddie's back.
Yeah,
Yes,
I had some issues with my my microphone before, and I stopped using it, and it's because unfortunately I'm on my work PC.
It's punishing you for missing so many episodes of our show.
Well, so I'm on my work PC, and so the issue is I let my local admin rights lapse, and I don't feel like sitting in the office with a face mask on, working, and stuff like that, and getting asked 5 million questions when I can just sit at home and work and get asked 5 million questions. So I have to get my drivers updated on here, and so the only way for me to get my drivers updated is with the local admin rights. So I'm tomorrow going to get involved with the person and be like, do it now.
Have you got the question at home yet? Is mommy, where do babies come from?
No, they don't care.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. So here's the funny part about this. Okay. So my youngest, the boy, he's like, he wants a brother.
Oh,
My daughter, being the only girl, she wants a sister.
Yeah.
My oldest, okay, which we've all met my oldest, isn't he?
He wants twins.
No. You know what he tells me? I come back, I show him the ultrasound. You know what he tells me? He goes, what's that date on there? He goes, that's not today's date. I said, no, that's my birthday. He goes, I don't believe it. I need more proof that there's a baby. Seriously, like I'm like, oh my God.
Those first ultrasounds, it's kind of hard to picture a baby unless you get one of those just great shots where your kid is just like, yeah, I'm right here, you know.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm just peeking my guts out for the shit of it. Okay. Like,
because it's a fun thing to do.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, dude, totally. I've had COVID now for 12 weeks. Okay. So,
yeah.
Any weird cravings yet?
Yeah. What is that?
No.
No peanut butter and pickles and jam.
I don't even like pickles outside of no, pickles are just well, no, it's not necessarily a wives' tale, but no, I've actually lost weight. So,
yeah. Hey, Jeff, that's 3, 6, and 12 now. They've upped it one more bottle.
12.
It used to be 11, and now they've upped it to 12. As far as Chad's comment, I kind of mentioned it before. The issue that you walk into with ZampleBox and carrying like all of the major brand premium lines, because all of the juices that they carry are pretty much premiums, but the vendors have to create a unique 30 mil bottle line for ZampleBox to carry it. So if say Taylor one day decides, they don't want to keep, because this is extra work for them because they're creating this just for ZampleBox. Yep. You're not going to be able to get 30 mils like on a website somewhere. Yeah. So if the vendor says we just don't want to produce the 30 mil bottles anymore, you're probably going to see it fall off the radar. Another thing to point out, and what people bring up a lot of times, is they'll say, well, I see it in my list of juices that I can pick, but I can't add it to my box. But if I go to the wholesale site, I can order it on the wholesale site. Well, here's the gig on that one. So when ZampleBox brings in a juice line, they determine part of that for wholesale and part of that for the sub boxes. So as people are picking and adding juices to their sub boxes, if they run out of that particular inventory, they won't be able to add it to the subs for that month, because they basically, when you're picking your flavors, you're reserving them. So you're kind of putting it on hold until your box ships. So if how many customers does ZampleBox have, John?
300 something million. No, I don't know, about 300,000. I have no idea anymore.
I thought you had a number before.
It's like 300,000 or something like that.
Okay,
remember these bottles?
Yeah, the glass ones.
Glass. Who misses glass? Who misses glass? Come on.
What?
Who misses glass?
This guy.
I do in certain aspects, yes.
I don't miss it one stinking bit.
How about you guys out there in the chat?
We really can't speak to that because we don't work for ZampleBox, so we don't really know.
Okay. But he's got a good point. So, like, with the PMTA,
yes,
it does go by bottle size and nick size. So, basically, if you don't already have a 30 ml bottle for it, it's hard to get those liquids in. And I'm pretty sure that ZampleBox talks to them, like, did you guys possibly have this before? Is there any way you guys can still get this, put in with your stuff? That might help them get that pushed through too, and they'll have another option with everything else too. Who knows? Like, I know people that made 30 ml bottles, and now they went up to 60s or 120s instead.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's the thing about it. So I don't know who all filed for everything. We just don't know. But at the same time, having those 30 ml bottles is helpful with sampling your juices, and how small the bottles are and stuff like that. There's other things out there where you're getting 60 or 120 ml bottles, and what if you don't like the flavor now? So now that big bottle is just gone, and what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, I know that they have kind of hinted about potentially putting out other subscription bottle sizes potentially down the line. I mean, there's 60s. Nothing. Yeah, 60s or maybe bigger. I think you kind of walk into a bit of a issue with that, because if you get a 60 ml bottle that you don't like,
then you're stuck with it.
That's the problem. I mean, it's 30s even pushing it for some people. I remember when they went from 15 to 30, there was quite a few people like, well, now I got a 30 ml bottle that I'm not going to vape, and that's why we created the you have to be a ZampleBox member to be in the ZampleBox exchange. But we had an exchange group for our ZampleBox members. So if they did get a 30 ml bottle that they didn't like, they could go into the exchange or exchange group page and exchange flavors with other ZampleBox members. And I think that's back up and running, correct?
Let me check.
I'm not sure if
last time I looked, it was still under review.
Unless we were still in Facebook jail.
It is still under review.
I can't find the soft spot on those glass bottles.
It's hard to find that soft spot.
Yeah.
Well, I miss the glass dripper. The glass. I don't care if it's glass or plastic, but I just miss that little dripper. The dropper, yes, the dropper. I miss that. Dropper.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays with a lot of the devices coming out, the fill holes are pretty much big enough now that you don't need the unicorns or those those gorilla bottles. Yeah. But I mean, I just kind of got over it. I'm like, you could never get enough liquid to suck up into those little things, and you had to do it 10 more times than just putting a bottle over the top and just, as Grim says, bleh. You bleh all over the coils. But I just got tired of the glass drippers.
I have no idea how to pronounce that name, but hi.
It's Lucas. It's Lucas.
That works.
See, I was the one that, like, when I started vaping, it was all glass bottles. So I was really used to glass bottles before the plastic bottles came around. And the one thing I learned is when you get to the very end of the glass bottle, you always feel like you're not actually getting anything out at all. And that was kind of super annoying. So what I would do is I would squeeze it and then squeeze the tip and put it in there and suck it up and then turn it upside down, let the air out, and do it again and try to fill it up as much as I can. Like, I was one of those people. I try to get every last drop, and I always feel like I wouldn't never finish the
you always
bottle.
miss like a drop or two.
Yeah.
Just a tip.
Yeah.
Just a tip. Yeah. And then what was the one brand that came out not long before they switched over to all plastic? I think it was called Flow. I think that was the brand name that came out. And they had some really good flavors, but they created this new glass dripper thing, and it had like this round ball on the end of it. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish by doing that. I don't know if that was just some design thing. They were trying to be a little bit different, and you were screwed on that. You couldn't. You could barely get it into the fill hole.
That's what she said.
Yes. Well, anyway, that was his. I'm done. I mean, and then imagine how many times people were getting boxes. Remember when we went through the whole dilemma with the bottles breaking, and they used to put the shredded paper in it, and then they did foam, and a lot of times those glass bottles would leak. So a lot of times you'd get the box, and like you'd get your little USPS envelope, and you'd notice like a wet corner, and you're like, oh God, here we go. So I think the plastic bottle is remedied a lot. Plus, it's probably cheaper, better for the environment.
It's better for the environment. It's cheaper. But if we didn't have the plastic bottles, we wouldn't have this right here.
What
is this right here?
Right? Yeah. John is the king of the bubble shot. I don't know how he does it, but I'm
telling you, it's the funniest thing when you got 6 of them with bubbles on top of them. I'm going to take that picture one of these days when I got all 6 bubbles sticking up like that. But what I hate is this right here, because every time I go to drip, I get all this on my hands.
Schmutz.
All the stuff on the top of the cap.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some companies have tried to eliminate that. They've tried, but there's a couple brands I don't know the names right off the top of my head that are just really bad for it. I mean, as soon as I turn the bottle over to start dripping, it's just bloop all over me.
Yeah, I had a loose one, and I was squeezing it into the RTA, and the whole cap thing didn't. The whole cap thing didn't shoot off, but it had a weak spot on one of the sides, and so it came pouring out the side all over my lap. So that's always fun to get soaked in juice. What are you vaping on, John? What's your dagger for the evening?
I'm always using the Lost Vape Paranormal. Always. That's my go-to mod all the time. And just my TBL mod. That was it.
Nice. Little mech action.
With the goon on top and
God, you still use the goon?
Yep, still use the goon.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them and I don't even use them anymore. So I've been kind of
Prism.
At Prism. Well, I've been. Go ahead.
And a company that's no longer around anymore, Artist Liquid's Strawberry Clouds.
Oh, I remember that brand. I don't think I ever had any of theirs.
Yeah.
What's the matter? No orgasm?
No, I don't. I got orgasm today or this week, last week in my box, but I gave that 6 box to my buddy, and it worked for about 2 days. He couldn't do it. He had to go back up to 18. I was like, "Hey, you're not ready. You're not ready. Don't you know?" So he gave me that box back, and boy, my throat is killing me. Because
18.
Or 16. No, 6. 6.
Oh, it's 6 milligram.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I drip. So the 6 in my, it's just burning my throat. So I've been kind of trying to look at guy at my age with my eyesight, it's kind of hard to see those stupid little numbers on there.
Yeah,
but
the 250 plus year olds are both wearing glasses.
Yeah, and that 6 is I can't. If I had to go up, there's no way I could go up to 6.
I'm not over 50, by the way.
You're not over 50.
You're not. Are you over 50?
No, but I wear glasses. So what does being over 50 have to do with wearing glasses? I've been wearing it since I was baby.
Because Madison, I was 20/20 vision.
Yeah,
most of my life.
Oh, here I got the world's smallest film.
I know,
for you.
and I'm not complaining.
I've never had 20/20 vision.
Yeah, well, it was
fantastic.
I knew something was going wrong when I was going to the bar and I would pull my phone out, and then you could only get phones that had like a 3.6-inch screen on them, and I'd be there for like 15 minutes. And I'd look at my phone. And it's blurry, and I was like, "Look, I haven't even had but half a beer. I know I'm not that far down the rabbit hole." So I knew that something was up, and then it just sort of like gradually got worse and worse.
I don't even
Kindergarten, since kindergarten.
I've never
There you
had,
go, Bill.
I don't even have 20/20 vision with my glasses. So I mean, I do not feel for you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not complaining. He just, he just brought up the fact that he's like a guy with bad eyesight as me, and I'm like, yeah, I know. I feel like that. I don't feel the pain, but I understand what he's going through. I'm not used to having to wear these all the time.
Hey, Tim, are you ready to give us some news?
I am, sir. Are you guys ready for some news? How about the
I
crowd?
suppose.
Bill's ready. Bill Tarling's ready for. Got to come in with the vape.
Pound those papers. Pound those papers.
I thought you were going to get a whiteboard for this time.
No, I don't really want to do a whiteboard action. That was my corporate life, and I'm kind of over that. So I really don't want the white. I don't need a dry erase board behind me. That's enough of that. How about I get a chalkboard and I just run my fingernails down it, because that's kind of how I feel about the vape world and all these ants out there trying to take us down. So
if you get a trackboard, you have to get those 4 chalk things that you can make the lines with too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and then when you're done, you can pawn the erasers.
That's true.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't bring that up. As someone that went to Catholic school, I know all about pounding erasers.
Yep.
The really big ones.
I remember, like in elementary school, that was like the one job you wanted to have, was that to get out of the classroom so you could go outside and bang the erasers together outside.
Yep.
Like everybody raised their hand to have that job, because it's like, oh, I get to go outside, freedom. So I got a few articles for everyone, and I try to come in with about 3 on each one. I probably could have done a 4th one tonight. Most of these are kind of short. I got 2 articles, including one advocacy that's not so much about being able to do much with it. Don't wag your finger at me, mister.
No, Madison knows.
I know. I've seen it.
So at any rate, so the first one that I'm going to talk about, let me bring my screen up here. This one is certainly going to make the people in San Francisco just screamingly happy about vaping, even though that what they're showing in the picture is not a vape device. Yeah. But I will explain.
Well, color me intrigued.
Yeah, well, Madison might know a little bit about that right there. Can you see that, Madison?
What? No, what?
Okay.
I'm blind, not deaf. I'm sorry.
Anyway, this one is about some good Lord, what is all that? There must be a really reliable article link. Well, no, all this garbage that popped up on.
Oh yeah, that's just advertisement. So
all right, so this one has to do with San Francisco, the city of San Francisco, and the looming vaping or smoking ban in apartments. Right. So if you're living in San Francisco, I'm sure you probably knew this was coming, but I just thought I'd like to bring it up. So this was the Board of Supervisors from the city of San Francisco who voted not even a day ago, practically. This was on the 30th of November, the 1st of December. They voted 10-1 to approve legislation to protect renters from the harms of secondhand smoke in buildings with rentals of 3 properties or more. So I guess they consider those apartments rentals nonetheless. Basically, they came up with this legislation. Yes. So basically the reason why they voted on this was because they're claiming that in rental properties that smoke moves easily between units. So there's no way for them to contain it. So people who are smoking in their apartments and I'm not bringing up the word vaping yet, but this is more about smoking. But the proposal was originally to include the banning of smoking marijuana as well, but they couldn't get enough votes for the banning of marijuana. Yeah. And the reason why that was the case is that they deal with they deal with smoking and smoking cigarettes and marijuana differently, right? So if they were to ban marijuana smoking in apartments, people who smoke marijuana don't have a place to go outside to do it, right? Because theoretically you can't be outside and smoking your spliff, right? So that said, they had to go back to the drawing table and consider an exemption for people who smoke marijuana.
Well, to be the cannabis advocate here, the other reason too is that there is no medical justification to ever smoking cigarettes. Right. Versus that if you are a medical marijuana patient, you are telling somebody that they cannot take their medication inside of their home. So that might be the other distinguishing between the two, is that smoking is not viewed as medicine versus cannabis is being viewed as medicine primarily in states, whether they have rec or not, they always have medical. So I think that could be the probably the caveat why they also couldn't get enough, because they would get sued really quickly for that and lose the battle really quickly.
Well, it's funny that you even brought that point up, because that was considered in the article. And in fact, the guy who actually wrote the proposal had amended it to exempt only medicinal users from the particular ban. However, they still couldn't get enough votes until they were able to exempt all of marijuana smoking for those two primary reasons. A, the medicine, and B, people who are smoking marijuana in their apartments don't have a public arena to go outside and smoke it outside. So in those two particular cases, they had to amend it again to create a blanket exemption for people who smoke marijuana. So that is not included in the ban. However, where the vapors get screwed is because vaping, even though we all kind of know it's not going to yellow the walls, it's probably not going to bother the guy in the apartment next door, there's no proof that exists that shows that vaping secondhand vapor is cause for any kind of complications or conditions related to it. But because vaping was lumped into the FDA deeming rule and regulated like tobacco products, that was the primary reason why vaping becomes then a part of this bigger picture. So at any rate, they did have one nay vote, though, in that 10-1 vote. There was one nay vote that was not in support of vaping and smoking, but instead due to any kind of grandfather exemption. So what his claim was is that they needed to reevaluate this particular ban because there was a lot of people who moved into apartments where there wasn't a ban, and now all of a sudden they're going to say there is a ban. They wanted to say, well, that's not necessarily fair to residents who were allowed to before, and now all of a sudden you're going to put them out on the street. So they did have that one nay vote. However, they did go back, and then they had a motion to postpone. But that motion to postpone, the general vote that was 10-1 was outvoted 5-6. So there were several other people who were like, hey, yeah, maybe the grandfather clause should apply here, but still they got outvoted 5-6. So there's no claim as to when this ban will start. However, the Department of Public Health is to enforce the ban. And here's the bottom line. Violators could face up to fines of $1,000 per day. And but that violation cannot be used as grounds for eviction. So, if you're busted smoking in your apartment, they can fine you up to $1,000 a day for every time you're busted, but they can't kick you out on the street. So I guess that's
you can't kick
incentive,
them out.
Right?
Which is going to be really interesting for them to try to catch a vapor, because based off of the science and studies that they've done off of smoking and vaping, if I remember, I have to find the link for the study. There was a study that they did that if you smoke one puff of a cigarette, that the residual has an air pollution for 45 minutes and increases for every puff of a cigarette that you have. Right. Where they compared it to vaping, that if you puffed on it, it was 5 seconds and then it was finished dissipating in the air. Yeah. So there was the only residual that most of us all know from vaping is you got to clean your windows because you'll get the residue. But beyond that, there was actually no smell and there was no residual left behind within 5 seconds from vaping. And it didn't compound the same way as smoking. So it'd be really interesting for them to even know if a vapor was actually vaping in the apartment, because there is no residual effect versus actually smoking.
Right.
And this is the burning process. This is like lighting a joint is what they're talking about. They're not talking about the guy that's vaping
CBD off of liquid or whatever.
So
well, it's about how particular mediums are regulated, right? Yeah. So when they say smoking and tobacco, because vaping is lumped in as a tobacco product, it just kind of gets, it's like the catch-all. It kind of sweeps it up and says, well, you know, that's something that, you know, that's going to be considered as well.
well, that's so with me with this article, and how they did this, I have an issue with it, and the issue is when they say the problem is smoke easily moves between units and there's no way to contain it, but then you're able to light up, you know, marijuana, and that can still easily move. So doesn't that really negate itself? You know?
Yeah, but you have to remember they specifically targeted an exemption because smokers and vapors can easily just go outside. You know, they can walk down the stairs in front of the apartment and vape out front, which is asinine in its own right. But if someone is medicinally smoking marijuana and they have a marijuana card, or they're smoking it in general, they don't have any recourse. It's not like they're trying to root out people breaking the law, but they're saying, even if that guy's smoking marijuana, he can't just go stand out in the park across the street and smoke marijuana. So whereas smokers and vapors have other sort of areas that they can go to accomplish the same thing.
And if you actually look at the laws that these states have actually passed with medical marijuana and even with recreational marijuana, it states specifically in there, you cannot do this anywhere in the public or public eye. It has to be done inside your home, private property, or in a dispensary in order for you to do it. So if you do wind up doing that, then they would not actually have anywhere to go, because they would be in fact forcing these apartment people to break the law by smoking marijuana outside their home, versus when you smoke a cigarette, typically there's rules like you can't be within so many feet of an entrance, or you have to be in a designated smoking area. There is actually no designated smoking area outside for any marijuana, whether it's medical or recreational, in the vast majority of states.
Yeah.
So, I remember that. I remember that, Bill.
Yeah.
It was funny because when I used to go out to drink with my buddies on Friday night, the cigar bar was the only place that I could actually have a drink and smoke a cigarette in the same place and be inside and not have to go outside. But it was okay if it was a cigar bar. But if it was just a standard bar that I was in, I couldn't smoke in there and drink. I'd have to go out to the side lounge and smoke my cigarette and come back inside. But I could never take my drink out there.
Yeah.
But in the cigar bar, and it was funny because even the guys that were there that were smoking cigars didn't mind the guys that were in there smoking cigarettes. Usually they don't want the two together, but
right. But what I'm saying is with the main sentence that I was said before, to me it makes sense to, if you're going to add in one exemption, you should be able to add in other exemptions at the same time.
Yeah. Well, where the board of supervisors pretty much has the run on this thing. So, I mean, you know, we can throw all the logic at the wall and see if it's going to stick, but it doesn't really matter. You know, there's still to compound on Madison's second point there about where marijuana smokers can go. Another reason why they created the exemption is that there are some select facilities like dispensaries where you could go and smoke, but apparently all of those are closed due to COVID. So that eliminates those facilities as a place where those people could go. So again, another reason why that exemption was essentially came to fruition. I mean, we can sit here and say it was fair, not fair. So, I mean, you know, the issue that you really have underlying a lot of this, and why I'm not really making a big stink out of it, other than just to sort of point this out that it's coming down the pike for San Francisco, is that, you know, these are apartments and you are renting, and that is technically not your property. So, I mean, even though you might put a deposit down to preserve the fact that when you move out, they can paint the walls or clean the carpets and all that other stuff, they're talking about it not being so much the target property that's the issue. It's the fact that those vapors or that secondhand smoke can travel to other units due to the air ducts or whatever. So, I mean, you have to be a little open-minded about the idea that this is not a private home. So
the best part of this article is that price on those goldfish.
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna have to write the San Francisco Examiner and tell them they need to get rid of their pop-up advertising.
The other thing is I mean, we can all agree that smoking and vaping are not related, and that they are clearly not looking at the studies of what has been shown, whether it's been in America or it's been in the UK or another country, that vaping is significantly different than tobacco, the traditional tobacco products. But I think we can all agree that really tobacco products being smoked non-vaping really shouldn't really be done in an apartment complex, because it does actually cost, like I'm a landlord, I have my rental property, and it really costs a landlord significant amount of money off of the damage that smoking does, because you have to repaint the walls. If you have carpet, you have to replace the carpet, because you then lose the ability, right? You then lose the ability with combustible cigarettes. You lose that ability to have another person come in and rent it, because there's a lot of people who are allergic to cigarette smoking. Like my mom, she would die of an asthma attack if she walked into a house that had previous smoking in it because of that. So it then becomes an impact to their business. But the thing is they're assuming vaping and tobacco is the same, and we all can agree that they're clearly not looking at the studies that should really be there.
Yeah, well, that's their out though. Is they're not gonna parse it that far. They're just gonna use whatever blanket laws exist and say, well, that we're gonna go by that. Now, I mean, you could have some.
Bill's got a good point too, because I know a lot of people that actually own the apartment that they're in. I wonder if that applies to them as well.
But it will.
It will, even if they own the unit themselves. I mean, live there.
It has 3 units or more. It's considered an apartment, and that will be subject to the ban. So again, one of those things where they considered the grandfather or something like that, and that guy the postponement was outvoted. So not going to happen. Bill also brings up the fact that they'll use that that you're using other cities as precedents. San Francisco is not the only city that it either is moving forward with one or has one. Cities like San Mateo, Daly City, Berkeley, Santa Clara County all have similar bans already. So this is not unheard of. This is not anything.
New York was moving in that route.
Suffolk County was trying to do a very similar thing. So bottom line is the final vote's going to be next week. It's impending. So if you live in San Francisco and you're in an apartment, well, that was my takeaway. I said my takeaway from this article was don't rent an apartment in San Francisco.
If you can afford one, you can afford to live anywhere else.
Yeah,
you can afford an apartment in San Francisco. You can afford to live anywhere else.
And my one advocacy line on this was more or less that there's no proof that secondhand vapor is a cause and effect for people to get sick or contract anything from secondhand vapor. So it talks about Madison's point, and that is they're not dissecting this far enough. We all know the truth, but they're not going to look at it that way. These people probably aren't vapors. All right, so that was that one. I'm tired of this website. I need to get away from the Examiner. My eyes are starting to blink. All right, so that
website reminds me of Idiocracy.
Yeah. So this one actually came as courtesy of Mr. Bill Tarling there in the comments section. He has a wonderful Facebook page that we'll talk about later. But it's a great repository for some wonderful articles on vaping and some of the advocacy, as well as a lot of the ants stuff that's posted on the internet. So this one I decided to pick it up just because this really sort of it's entitled FDA Seeking Agency Support for a Lucrative Anti-Tobacco Assignment Campaign. And this sort of highlights, bottom line on this one is this sort of highlights the amount of money that the government is throwing at the campaign against vaping. Now, this really isn't about trying to eradicate vaping per se. They're making the claim that this is all about the kids, right? Because that's really the guys that we're under. Oh, it's the kids, addiction to nicotine. So basically, this ad campaign is going to focus on teen use of e-cigarettes. And the campaign initiative is called The Real Cost. Well, what I didn't know about the real cost of this particular campaign is that it's actually been around since about 2017. So this would be about the fourth reincarnation of an ad campaign to target vaping, which is why I think this article highlights why people need. I'm sorry, this since 2014. This is the fourth campaign since 2014. So at any rate, the campaign initiative is called The Real Cost, which is supposed to focus on reaching and educating the 10.7 million teens who have used e-cigarettes or are thinking about trying them. So that includes the person or the teen that vapes once in 30 days just to experiment with it. But again, it's the fourth campaign since 2014 of the same initiative, The Real Cost. And here's the money we're talking about. So when they finally find a suitor, that suitor could net up to 900 million over the next 5 years. So, I would probably gather to say that the vaping industry does not have those kinds of funds in reserve.
No.
And we're going to see in the coming months, once they find somebody, expect to see an onslaught of anti-vaping campaign information. So this is going to be completely designed to be a hyper-intense media blitz, and the focus will look to reach teens on almost every social media platform. So that means Facebook, Twitter, if they're on Twitter, TikTok. They're going to basically hit every primary form of social media to try to target these kids and try to explain the risks and things like that. Where I think that those particular things sometimes work negatively and not to their benefit, because once you start creating a taboo around something in a kid's face, they're going to be like, whoa, I got to go try that. Must be pretty gnarly. So maybe I can get a good buzz off of it. So it's more than inclined. It's more likely and inclined to probably attract some kids. They also, I think there was 10,000 schools that were selected where they have determined the highest rates of teen e-cigarette use. And so they're going to go into the schools and they're going to blitz their hallways and their common areas with a bunch of media, like posters and flyers and things.
So are they going to be doing that like within the next year? Because how are they going to do that with all the schools closed?
That's a great laptops.
That's a great question. It didn't specify exactly when it was. I mean, they're probably looking to target it this year. But however that might happen, they're going to go heavy on the social media routes, and 10,000 schools they claim they're going to go in, and they're going to go in because these are schools that have the highest rates of vaping. They're going to go in and they're going to plaster stuff all over the walls.
And I'm curious as to how many of those 10,000 schools are currently open right now and are not remote learning right now, because a lot of the country is.
And like I said, I mean, it doesn't specify what they're going to do first, when, simultaneously. However, I would imagine that they will get access to those schools when they can get access to those
not
schools.
To mention, why would they? I mean, you can't even get a specialty into most of these schools because of COVID. Like, I mean, it to me, it almost seems like they're going to do this post-COVID, which would make more logical sense to do, right, when the schools are open. But
that's what I'm saying.
The thing is it's going to be useless because right now the teens are away from each other. Well, they're quote unquote away from each other right now. So they're really not getting that whole peer-to-peer, interaction.
Yeah.
This isn't in the news really per se. Vaping isn't as much in the news as compared to COVID, that it seems like they're going to go in there when it's not really been a hot button topic for these teens anyway, and start just spreading it, and it's going to do the exact opposite. And they'll be like, oh, vaping, yeah, I remember hearing about that thing. Yeah, we should totally try it. First, they're going to go back to school and be like, oh my God, we're finally back to school. This really sucks. And, then they're going to put that in their face.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like the reverse of what we just did.
Right, but I mean, I think a lot of what applies here, and I agree with you, Madison, that the approach into the schools will come post-COVID when the kids are back, and we're not under these same strict regulations. Remember, this is a 5-year campaign, so that doesn't mean they're going to go into the schools this year. It could be 2022, 2023 when they finally get in there. But I think where a lot of this falls is the fact that they're basically riding on this antiquated ants propaganda that they've kind of, that they seem to think that even though it's been shown that the vaping rates have decreased and smoking rates have decreased exponentially, that in fact it's going to go the other direction. And that is sort of based on presumptions, probably crappy models created by the FDA. I'll get into that as I get to the bottom of the notes. But they're also going to target, and Bill's right too, the broadcast media is going to be another avenue, right? So kids that are, listening to the radio or whatever they listen to, Sirius XM, Spotify is going to be another one that they're going to target. That's just another one of those. I'm sure there's a million music listening services out there, but they're also going to target national and niche audiences as well. And that's based on geographic, demographic, psychographic, socioeconomic, and cultural factors. So they're going to take those risk factors into concern, and they're going to target those particular audiences as well. So it's going to be a pretty broad-based ad campaign.
Did they name any of the agencies at all in that article? I didn't.
They named one of the ones they had used previous, but they don't have one selected as of yet. So there's no name on the table. They're still on the search for that. If any updates come around in regards to that, I'll be happy to update everybody. So here's what the FDA claims, and this kind of came at the bottom of the article. I always talk about the dreaded end of the article, right?
Yeah, Bill.
They kind of throw some propaganda or some nugget in there, which, if they really want to make their case, they probably should have put this at the beginning of the article, considering who they're trying to target. But I read to the bottom, and the FDA's claim that at the current trajectory, which I think we're somewhere in the 3-point-something million range of kids who apparently are tried vaping, currently vaping. They're saying, and this is what infuriates me even more, is the terminology that they use. So the FDA is claiming that at the current trajectory, an estimated 5.6 million children who are alive today will die prematurely from the results of smoking. How that has anything to do with vaping makes no sense to me, because it's not smoking, it's not combustible tobacco. They did mention that at a daily rate, somewhere in the neighborhoods of about 5,000 kids start smoking their first cigarettes each year. So around 4,700 kids, or I think it's down here in the bottom. It says right here, each day they claim that more than 4,700 Americans aged anywhere from 12 to 25 smoked their first cigarettes. So in 2020, 3.6 million youths reported using e-cigarettes within the past 30 days. And they say that if at this trajectory, that 5.6 million children alive today will die prematurely as a result of smoking. Okay, well, now they're kind of hinting at the fact that they still are standing on their soapbox that vaping is a gateway to smoking, which we know is not true.
Except what's the really fun part is they're grabbing the statistics from the ages of 12 to 25. 21 and older is legally allowed to vape or smoke.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
And 18 years and older is an adult. It's not even a child.
Well, they probably put that number in there because some states are pushing for that 25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is a rare thing, because that was New York State, where they allow the municipals and counties to injunct laws that are stricter than the state laws.
Yeah.
So it's tobacco 21.
Do you not feel like they're trying to fight this vaping thing? And maybe this is just the mom in me and the current economic situation of what we have going on right now. Kids are suffering from so much fucking more crap right now than vaping that's killing them right now. Depression is on the rise. Anxiety is on the rise with these kids right now because of COVID. They're losing their education. Many of these kids are going hungry because their parents. Could we not just maybe say, you know what? Let's use the $900 million to, feed children right now who are starving.
Yeah.
I mean, a part of me is just like.
Make way too much sense.
I mean, if we really give a crap about these kids right now, that they supposedly say vaping is not going to kill them as fast as a hungry belly is going to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we just know that they kind of, this is all predicated on the fact that this all started with how vaping companies were targeting the youth, and we've somehow become part of a greater contingent that has helped to addict these kids because the vendors were targeting the kids.
It seems like to me, though, maybe to you, Tim, as well, and the rest of us, it just seems like now they're just like throwing everything in. They're not focusing on one part of trying to get vaping banned.
They're just using the old rehashed information that they've been running with for quite some time.
But I mean, they're kind of like all putting it all together now, like in one article.
Yeah, well, they're lumping it all together, and then they're conflating things, and they're skewing the lines, and they're trying to justify, all the steps that they're taking. I mean, they've been fighting vaping for quite some time. But they fail to look at numbers and things like that, and primarily they by using these campaigns they ignore the greater the greater picture, and that is that this is a product that was designed for adults to get people to quit smoking. There are always going to be lures for kids and things out there in this world. I mean, for us, it was drinking and smoking, and maybe there was some drugs thrown in there as well. But I'm saying, but those lures will always be there. They're conflating this and just making it a bigger thing than it has to be, because this is where their money comes from. I mean, $900 million. Yeah. What company or what organization wouldn't love to get their grimy hands on 900 million? And they're more inclined to go with propaganda in order to secure that funding. I think it's going to keep that ad agency in business for quite some time.
I think we should get
this is all
1%
pretty sad.
of that money.
I would also add that if you're out on Twitter at all, you'll notice that there's been a massive influx of ants propaganda, like in the last month. Yeah. Like it was pretty heavy, but it's gotten really heavy as of late. So my takeaways on this particular article were that the FDA is still pushing the vaping equals gateway to smoking agenda based on that last comment. And funded ants campaigns, including the FDA, seek to destroy this industry any way, shape, or possibility that they can find. Yeah, and Bill's throwing out some great statistics. Yeah, it's enough to infuriate that anybody sitting here on this panel or anybody that's watching the show. But just know that these things are coming out, and this is what we're up against.
Let me ask Bill a quick question.
Poisons the minds of those who can be influenced, or what's the word I'm looking for? I'll come back to it in a minute,
Why you think about it?
These people can be swayed to think something about vaping that's not necessarily the truth. Yes, we all agree the kids don't need to be vaping, and it's illegal for them to be.
Let me ask
why
Bill something real quick.
Dehumanizing and criminalize us in the same process.
Tim.
All right, so the last one is not so much an advocacy article, but I'm lumping it into the advocacy category.
I don't think
here's an update to some activity that was going on. This article basically states that the FDA e-cigarette deeming rule was now deemed constitutional. So what I find a little bit unfortunate about this one is that there were people trying to claim that it was an unconstitutional rule. So this was initially issued. So the deeming rule was initially issued by a woman by the name of Leslie Klux, and she was the associate commissioner for policy with the FDA. So upon announcement of the deeming rule, several people stood up. So Moose Juice was one of them, and several other e-cigarette makers and retailers, including the nonprofit group Tobacco for Life, sued the FDA in response to the 2016 deeming rule as being unconstitutional because Leslie Klux was not appointed as an inferior or principal officer at the time she issued the ruling. Now, mind you, Gottlieb was around at that time. However, it was this associate commissioner that came out and announced the ruling. So the argument basically for that constitutional lawsuit was that the associate commissioner's issuance violated the appointments clause. So apparently, I guess there's some legislation somewhere that states that if you're not deemed an inferior or principal officer, that you violate this appointments clause in making valid, legitimate rules for the FDA. So basically an onslaught of litigation. There was a primary case that was instituted that was going in front of lower court judges. However, during that time in 2019, because this started in basically just after 2016, in 2019, Scott Gottlieb on his own ratified the ruling on his own and basically shut all the loopholes or ability to argue their case because he ratified the rule. So he did this while the litigation was pending. So something seems fishy about that, and just from the onset, like if you know you've got pending litigation, how can you just take the luxury of ratifying a particular rule? However, he went ahead and did it. So the ratification of the deeming rule, it closes any First Amendment challenge because the FDA prevailed on the same issue in a previous case. So that was the precedent that they were able to lean on and state, well, because he ratified it, they had won a previous case based on the same statutes. So therefore, he could go ahead and ratify the rule, and that was the leg that they could stand on. If anyone is at all interested in looking into this, there is the case law. However, I don't know that it's going to do anybody any good at this point because basically we can't litigate it any further. But it was a case called Moose Juice, and that's not spelled Juice. That's Jooce. Moose Juice versus the FDA. There's a case number. I'm not going to read out a number, but you could probably just look up Moose Juice versus FDA. You can find the actual legal documents for the case. Additionally, the opposition challenged the advance approval requirement. Here's one that everyone here should know about. But the opposition challenged the advance approval requirements for modified risk, which is basically the portion in the FDA's ruling that states that vape shops and manufacturers and e-liquid creators and stuff can't make those claims that vaping is 95% safer than smoking. So that was a challenge against it. Was the first they claimed it was a First Amendment violation. However, the FDA shut it down, saying that you can't make those particular claims unless they can actually be proven, which, using the Royal College of Physicians information that's hanging out there, you would think that we would be able to use that, but because it's from another country, you can't use that. So basically, his ratification even closed that loophole down. And this was the bottom line with the judge. The judge in the case stated that Gottlieb's ratification after 3 years without considering additional evidence was neither arbitrary or capricious. So if you read into this article, you'll see that Gottlieb issued a statement basically stating that because he was part of the process of creating the deeming rule and the evidence and the information that he had, that he was not doing this to basically shut down a lawsuit, which most could argue that he was, that in fact he had no arbitrary reasons to shut it down. Basically, he's saying because what they know he ratified the rule. So that's that. There's no advocacy that we can really do on that, just that everybody knows that the advocacy that was being done was basically shut down and the door slammed in our face. And that is your news.
That is the news.
Tim,
can you hear us? Can you hear us?
I don't think I can hear you.
And I can't hear, so I have to unplug my headset and plug it back in. I'm pretty sure you guys can hear me.
I got a quick question for Bill about the previous article that you were just doing on teens. I was just wondering how aggressive Canada has been with teen smoking. Is it as aggressive as it is here? You can answer that. I'm kind of curious the avenues that Canada is going through, and if it's similar to ours. I'm not sure. Tim's having audio difficulties. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, you guys can hear me fine.
I just asked Bill about your previous article about teen smoking. I was just wondering how aggressive Canada is. Are they as aggressive as we are with teen smoking, and is there billboards all over the place, ads in schools? And
I think they're kind of following our lead.
Is using most of the talking points from the U.S. FDA, CDC. Okay.
Yeah, it's really weird because like we can't use talking points from the UK, but then Canada can use talking points from us against it.
Yeah,
But they're our neighbor, right?
They're our neighbor, but I mean, I don't know I just find that all weird. I don't know how that all works, Canada and England, and as far as laws and what they go. I mean, because in England and the UK, most of it is open. They're pretty they're using their studies and they're saying vaping is safer, but in Canada, they're more swaying towards what we believe.
Yeah,
as far as vaping.
I'm not too sure on the Canadian.
I don't know. I know the Queen's on their money, but I don't know as far as what England has to say is justified.
That's kind of interesting question, actually. Like, how correlated is Canada to England? Like, how
the same as Australia is. They are part of the Commonwealth.
That's true. Australia as well.
Yeah, they're part of the Commonwealth, but she doesn't really have any direct influence per se over it. She more or less owns the land, from my understanding. Yeah. And basically, they have their own separate governments. I mean, England is a little bit different because they have their own separate government. She's really not a part of the government in a way. Like, it's really weird how it works out, but so they really wouldn't say very much in general because she's very hands off with her Commonwealth. Like, they pretty much, she lets their governments do what their governments do. And stuff
I forgot about Australia. That's a good point.
There's a lot of them. The Commonwealth is actually quite large when you think about her empire is very large, but but they're not going to be very much different than Australia is going to be. And
so it wouldn't matter what their prime minister says. It's going to be based on their laws within their country. So.
I mean, Bill, you could always correct me on, but that's at least how my understanding is of looking at how they have it.
You guys also have a limit on milligrams as well there in Canada, correct? Nothing over 25, I think it is, or did it go up, or is it still at 25? I think you can't get anything stronger than 25 milligrams in Canada. And nicotine amounts, I was always wondering that. Well, it's that time, guys. Oh, wait, here. Bill's got something here. In Quebec, Canada, they're banned from any social media. Oh, wow. Yeah, so, that's right. You know what? It even affected the influencers on Instagram as far as the ones that were in Canada, as far as taking pictures for vaping gear. They can get in trouble for that, I guess. I was just like blown away from it.
Now, the only question that I would have for Canada, so like in the United States, we have
20 milligram cap.
We have states, and so each of the states can do their own individual thing, and then obviously the president can overrule or Congress can overrule and make a federal. But the thing is in Canada, since you guys have your provinces, is everything being different between the provinces, or can the prime minister do an outright ban across Canada, or is it province based only?
Yeah, so different provinces right there.
Yeah, so different and different. Wow.
So is there one province that seems to be more vape friendly than another province that you guys have seen?
That's a good question. I wonder.
The Yukon Territory. There's like 5 people and 12 moose.
Yeah.
That's North Dakota.
Hey, listen. We don't have a whole lot of moose up here. That's north of us. We can see him. We can see him and wave.
Put bigger horns on an elk. You get
the regulations added by federal regulations. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That is tough. Well, it's that time, guys. We're going to do our goodbyes. Let's start with, because we miss her. She hasn't been around. Let's start with Madison. You got any goodbyes, Maddie?
I guess it's good to be back. Hopefully I'll be on every week from now, and I don't feel as sick as I did before. So
you got the bump yet? You got a bump yet?
No
bump.
I mean, I'm only 12 weeks, so
yeah, that's 12 weeks.
I'm just finally getting over the hump of not wanting to puke whenever I look at somebody. So we're going on the up and up right now. So hopefully that'll be good. And I don't feel as tired like where I was going to bed at 6 p.m. So
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, we're with you, Patricia.
We're all in that same boat. Yeah. We're all mad as hell.
Oh, by the way, John's a great name, Madison. John is a really good, solid.
Not Gabe John. It's also not a Star Wars name.
It's not going to be.
Just call it the child.
It's got to be a Star Wars name.
A Star Wars name? It has to be a Star Wars name?
Yeah, because
all right, you know what? You know what? Just for you for next week, one of my polls on all the Facebook group pages is going to be name Madison's child.
I already have names. I already have names for it. If it's going to be a boy, his name will be Owen. It's either going to be Owen Christopher or Owen Matthew. And I'm thinking of Christopher because I have a really good friend who's been battling leukemia. And he is a very dear friend of mine, and he's absolutely a fantastic man. He's still alive, but it's been a rough couple of years. So I was thinking about that. And Owen is actually Anakin. Oh, no, Jar Jar Binks is annoying. I hate Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
Ew, disgusting. But Anakin's stepbrother.
Jar Jar, come here, Jar Jar.
Yeah, Anakin's stepbrother. His name is Owen. And since my son's name is Anakin, why not name his brother Owen? And then if it's a girl, her name will be Isabella Rose.
Yeah, nice. And let's go to the man in the middle, Brian.
I just want to thank everyone for tuning in, and we really appreciate the questions. Bill, got a bone to pick with him because I give Tim some news, and all of a sudden he's like, "I got it from Bill instead."
Don't worry. Bill's in my PMs like negative 3 minutes. I'm like, oh, another awesome article. Great.
But thanks, Bill, for helping out with a lot of stuff. It's great. Kind of helps out quite a bit too because I like to search around too. So yeah, just thanks everyone tuning in. And if anybody has any questions for us or any topics, feel free to shoot us an email or hit us up. Just let us know.
Talk to us.
Yeah, we're more than willing to talk back. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for everybody.
We're very social.
Yeah,
we are. It's weird.
Yeah. Let's go to Tom so he can't copy Tim. Go ahead, Tommy.
Thanks everybody for stopping in and hanging out with us for the last 2 hours. It's been great, and we'll see you next week.
He's a man of so many words. Love him. We missed you last week. We missed you.
Why use 10 words when 5 will do just fine?
Yeah, we really missed you last week. Glad to have you back.
Glad to be back.
Yeah. All right, Tim. Spread your knowledge.
Before I say my goodbyes, I was looking at the layout on the screen, and for like 3 seconds, I looked up and I saw Brian's zipper at the top of his hoodie, and then there's that line that goes right down the middle. I thought, now you screwed it all up. You ruined my pitch. You ruined my pitch. Anyway, no, it just looked like I saw
they do line
Brian's entire zipper going like all the way down in between Tom and Maddie. It's just a perfectly good straight line. Oh my God, this got loud all of a sudden.
Easy. No, save that for the after show.
Well, first off, I want to say thank you to the other 4 here on the panel. This is our first show without a guest, so I thank you guys for being here and sharing in the conversation. I want to thank all the fans who are tuning in and watching the show every week. Everybody, this is a community. We're all family here. We all have the same goal and the aspirations, and we're all just wanting to quit smoking. And, this is going to be fun. So, come back and join us every Wednesday. I don't have too much advocacy to harp on. And if we don't see you again before the end of the year, have a wonderful Christmas. But beyond that, thanks for being part of the show, and we'll see you next week.
All right. I want to thank everybody on this panel, my host. We did a great job. We apologize for not having Yosh on, but like I said, we'll get him on. We'll get him back on. And I want to thank everyone following. Bill, I sent you a DM. I would love to have you. We'd love to have you on the show.
Bill, come on the show.
We do we used to do what was called a member spotlight, and that's what the show. This is how the show started. And it wasn't really about having the guests, but it was actually having vapors in our community come on, tell their stories, how they got started. So if that's something you're interested in doing, Bill, let us know. Email us, and we'll set up a time for you to come on, and you can tell us about your journey. So that's like a big thing for us. We want to focus on our community, us vapors. I know a lot of you guys here, a lot of the vape reviewers and influencers, they hate that term Vape famous, they hate it because they just want to be part of the community, and that's what makes this community so strong. So if anyone out there is interested in being spotlighted, just email us down there. We'll let you know the requirements. We have a list of 10 questions, guys.
Yeah,
that we'll send you. You fill out that little list, and then we'll have you come on, and you guys can just tell us your journey, how it all started. That's about it. And let me do my thingy here, and it's down here. Where did it go? Where did it go, guys?
I don't know where you left it.
If you're new to the ZampleBox channel, please hit the subscribe button and that little bell down there on the right-hand side, and that'll let you know when new content is uploaded to the YouTube channel. And we'll see everybody again next Wednesday at 6 p.m. And I'm going to go to Tim. What time is it at 6 p.m. everywhere else?
Well, he says 6 p.m., but then it's 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. Eastern. So join in, click bells, come on and join us, be part of the community, and talk with us. We love to hear from everybody.
Wouldn't it be easier to say, John, it's your time there?
Tanner, do you have the bell?
Tim's your time there?
We actually have all the locations locked in, don't we, guys?
Hey, Tanner, do you have
the only one we
don't?
The only one we don't have is Mountain Time, and that's where Yoshi is.
Yeah, three of us are in Central Time.
Yeah, that's right.
Best time zone ever.
Yeah.
Tanner, do you have the bell clicked?
The bell click.
Yeah.
No, Tanner said he has the notifications, but he doesn't get any of them. So.
Oh yeah, YouTube's been pretty picky about that. They've had some issues with it as far as vaping sites and review channels having some issues with people not getting notifications when content is posted. All I can tell you is unclick it and click it again. That's what people have been telling everybody else to do. Yeah, it really sucks. And if you're at any other location than the 4 that we said, Google it. Just Google it.
Or just look at what Bill just put in.
Bill's got it right there for you.
I mean, damn.
although we should add in, there's also CST time, and then there's CDT time. And because we have done fall back, technically Latin America is no longer in the same time zone with us.
Okay, we're overthinking this, guys.
Just use California and the East Coast as your meter. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, if he's gonna add in UK and GMT, then we have to include Latin America.
No, we don't.
No, I'm half Mexican, and we're including that.
All right, guys,
we can figure it out.
Let's give them the horn.
We'll see you guys next week.
Later.